With me now, a man who has held the AWA Heavyweight Championship 3 times and who later tonight, live, right here on ESPN, will battle it out with the Barbarian, Nick Bockwinkel. There's no doubt about it. Whoever wins tonight has to be considered the #1 contender.
Well, there's no question about it. Now, most of the fans here just now, before we went on the air, were chanting and screaming #4. And I'm going to be very honest. I'm one of the veterans. I'm one of the senior members of what's going on in my sport. And I've had the good fortune to be able to stay in shape. And I've kept my weight the same. And I have known over the years how to fight nasty, dirty, bend the rules, and cheat. And I'm not embarrassed, and I'm not going to apologize for anything I've done in the past. And I'm going to say this. There's nothing the Sheik wants more than to be able to somehow get his hands on the heavyweight championship of the world and run it back to the Arab countries. And I've got to stop this man, because the winner of this match here tonight will very, very likely be given very high consideration by the championship committee.
Nick Bockwinkel against the Barbarian coming up tonight. This next bout is 1 fall. There is a 30-minute time limit in the ring. And to my right, from Beverly Hills, California, weighing in at 247 pounds, Nick Bockwinkel. His opponent, brought to the ring by his manager, Sheik Adnan LKC, and accompanied by his tag team partner, Boris Zukov. He weighs in at 318 pounds. He is Nord, the Barbarian. Your referee is Gary DeRusha. Down to ringside, Rod Trongard and Greg Gagne.
Well, needless to say that this is going to be a war from the very, very beginning. A war is made up of many, many battles. And Greg Gagne, it's nice to have you alongside me. You have been in the ring against Nick Bockwinkel. You certainly know better than anyone what we can expect in this one. I've got a pretty good idea, but you know better than anyone else.
This should be a very physical contest, Rod, and thank you for inviting me down here tonight. I want to say hello to all the good fans in Brainerd, Minnesota up at Camp Confidence, and apologize for not being there this year. But we're out here for this big one. Nick Bockwinkel wanting championship #4. He's going to have his opportunity tomorrow night in Denver. Nord the Barbarian would like to stop him tonight.
And Greg Gagne has mentioned tomorrow night is Wrestle Rock at McNichol Arena in Denver, Colorado. And Nick Bockwinkel is using his quickness, his agility, and putting it to great work, taking advantage of it against the bigger Barbarian. 318 pounds, the Barbarian, and 247, Nick Bockwinkel. A couple of real giants in there, and this should be a classic from start to finish. Bockwinkel, of course, wants that AWA championship belt back in the worst way.
Well, like we said, Rod, he'll have his opportunity tomorrow night, and he could be wrestling either Jerry Blackwell or Stan Hansen, depending on the outcome of that match tonight. Here's a great arm drag takedown by Bockwinkel. He's frustrating the Barbarian by moving under him, getting the Barbarian off balance, and then shooting that arm drag in there. As you can see, the experience of Nick Bockwinkel paying off.
And, of course, there are a couple of other people that Nick Bockwinkel has to pay attention to as well. Oh, wow.
Look at the strength of this Barbarian, Rod.
Oh, my. Excellent camera work, as you saw the expression on Nick Bockwinkel's face as the Barbarian hoisted him up literally by his neck. And as I was saying before, a couple of other people that Nick Bockwinkel has to keep in mind are Sheik Adnan El-Casey and Boris Zukov, who are at ringside and their presence may indeed be felt before this one is all over. They hook up again, and here's a side headlock by Nick Bockwinkel on the Barbarian.
Look at the strength of the Barbarian now. Bockwinkel, 247, 252 pounds, taking Barbarian over with that side headlock. But as you said, with Boris Zukov and Sheik Adnan El-Casey out there in the corner, no man knows better than Nick Bockwinkel. For many, many years, he had a manager at his side. And we know the outcome of matches when Bockwinkel had that manager. So if anybody should know how to work around Sheik Adnan Al-Casey and Boris Zukov, it should be Nick Bockwinkel.
You see the side headlock there, which Bockwinkel has on the Barbarian. Now you see Sheik Adnan Al-Casey roaming around the ring, back to the center of the action, in the squared circle, and there's Bockwinkel coming off.
Ooh.
And a hard shoulder block. Actually, Bockwinkel was going to apply the shoulder block, but giving away the weight that he does, the Barbarian was able to stand his ground in the center of the ring.
Well, the Barbarian, a younger man, and tremendous strength, and Bockwinkel caught off guard there, I think, underestimating the strength of the Barbarian. Now, Bockwinkel, as you know, is experienced and a great wrestler in his own right, and he's going to have to find a way to get around the Barbarian's big size. Again.
Another shoulder block. And the Barbarian standing tall and standing strong in the center of that ring as you get a good close-up.
You can feel the intensity around ringside here building in this match. These two athletes, those collisions we can hear at ringside are tremendous shots by Bockwinkel and the Barbarian.
And I certainly feel the intensity whenever Sheik Adnan Al-Casey comes rolling around as he was just next to us. And you see him there just about 5-6 feet away from Greg Gagne. And they have been in the ring before. And so has Greg's father, Vern, been in the ring against Sheik Adnan Al-Casey, almost ending Casey's career after Casey almost did the same thing to Vern in a previous match. Oh, my. The arm could just about pop out of the socket in 3 different places. There is a heavy knee drop and a hard knee drop to the shoulder and an arm bar now by the Barbarian here from Kaiser Convention Center in Oakland, California.
We look at the Barbarian there, and he's a very agile athlete for 6'7" and 318 pounds. I haven't seen too many men move in the ring or on the football field with that size and the agility that this man has. And he's going to be a tough one here in the AWA and could be one of the leading contenders for that world's heavyweight champion, whether Hanson, Blackwell, or Bockwinkel has it.
Look at the disgust and the disdain on the face of the Barbarian. That last move, which the Barbarian put on Bockwinkel, lifting him about 5 feet off the canvas and hanging onto the arm to do it, could just about pop that arm in 2 or 3 different places. And he goes to work on it again. Take a look at that arm at the elbow being hyperextended. There has to be a lot of pressure and a lot of pain there, Greg Gagne. Well, you certainly would know.
There definitely is, and Bockwinkel has to get up to his feet like he was, but the Barbarian, when he got the referee out of position, did pull Nick Bockwinkel down by the hair. The referee is instructed by AWA President Stanley Blackburn. He can only call what he sees.
And Stanley Blackburn is in attendance here tonight at the Kaiser Convention Center. Again, the hair, and again, Gary DeRusha did not see it, and again, he cannot call it. Of course, he can ask, but we all know what the answer is going to be from the Barbarian and company.
The more I see the Barbarian in action, the more experience he's getting in the ring, the tougher he is going to be to handle in there. At a younger stage in his career here, you could get him to make some mistakes, but he seems to be making less and less mistakes each time he steps in the ring. And when that happens, he's going to be a handful for any man that steps into there with him.
And, of course, he has to be making that kind of progress, or he wouldn't really fare too well against the man of the experience of Nick Bockwinkel, who grabs the hair himself.
And the Sheik wouldn't hire anyone under contract that couldn't hold his own in that ring. We know what the Sheik wants. He wants the World's Heavyweight Championship or the Tag Team Championships to take back to Baghdad, Iraq.
Nick Bockwinkel has said prior to the start of this match that he indeed is going to do everything he can to preclude that from happening, meaning getting a victory here tonight. But he certainly has his work cut out for him. Excellent camera work here. It's right in your living room, ladies and gentlemen. You get a tremendous look-see, and there is Sheik Adnan Al-Casey in the foreground, leader of the army, as he is called, as in the ring. You have the Barbarian having back Bockwinkel to the corner, bombs away with a forearm smash, and then to the back after a knee to the midsection. Bockwinkel taking a lot of punishment now as you have the hammer lock, and across the ring he goes, and crashing into that turnbuckle with the arm and the shoulder.
The Barbarian hurting that arm of Bockwinkel earlier in the match, and now right back on it. This again shows the experience that the Barbarian is getting in the ring. He's got a weak point on Bockwinkel, and he's staying on it, Rod.
And drilling and hammering and clubbing away.
Listen to these fans. Look at the banners, American flag. Everybody chanting USA. They want Bockwinkel to come back from this. I don't know if he can or not, Rod.
Again, across the ring he goes. Bockwinkel gets out of the way. Just in time. Very, very quickly the move, and it had to be a quick move on the part of Nick Bockwinkel. The Barbarian went crashing into the top turnbuckle. Bockwinkel now sensing that he might have his man in trouble. Quickly goes to the attack and rings that arm. Takes it over the top rope and comes down on it and just about pops it out the top side. Bockwinkel now taking his man to the corner, to the post, and wrapping that arm around the steel ring post, not once, but twice. Bockwinkel again, 3 times on that ring post. Bockwinkel has a 10 count to get back in before disqualification, and he just so barely made it. He may have totally immobilized the left arm of the Barbarian, but the Barbarian still has the right, and he caught him in the midsection. Bockwinkel fires back, and the Barbarian comes back with a hard right hand, a forearm, a smash across the top shoulders, and here is the body slam, the Barbarian on Nick Bockwinkel.
Look at the strength of the Barbarian. As we know, and he's been heard around town, that he bench presses over 500 pounds and presses over 300 over his head. He picked Bockwinkel up like a sack of potatoes and slammed him to that mat. He's got Bockwinkel in a lot of trouble, Brad.
318 pounds for the Barbarian, 247 for Nick Bockwinkel, who lays face first across that bottom rope, and then comes the boot of the Barbarian across the back of his head, and that doesn't help the predicament that Nick Bockwinkel is in at all at this particular time. Bockwinkel is going to have to find a way to come out of it, and come out of it very, very quickly. The Barbarian has youth on his side, hammers away with a judo shot to the chest and to the neck area, and a hard smash to the back. And now he's going to take him across the ring, has a hold of the hair, bounces that head off that top turnbuckle, and Bockwinkel is taking a lot of punishment here at this point in time. Greg Gagne, can he hang in there?
I don't know, Rod. I think Bockwinkel, going back here a little bit, his mistake was when he had Barbarian's shoulder hurt, he started getting in the ring and punching it out with him, and I don't feel that's the way to go with the Barbarian.
And they exchange right hands, and now you have Bockwinkel with his head pinned between the legs of the Barbarian, and we'll have to see what happens. A good close-up there.
He's got the tights of Nick Bockwinkel, apparently trying to pick him up for a pile driver. Bockwinkel's got that ankle blocked and the shoulder into the knee. He could get the advantage here on the Barbarian.
Trying to kick that right leg out from under the Barbarian twice, 3 times, and it did not work. And oh, wow! A split scissors by the Barbarian down on that canvas, and that could create a lot of problems for the 318-pounder. Bockwinkel going to work on the left leg, the left knee of the Barbarian. He has it across that lower rope strand, and 247 pounds, giving away 50 pounds.
Here goes Bockwinkel with the famous going for that figure 4 leg lock, and could not lock it in. Could not lock it in on the Barbarian.
It looked like Bockwinkel, if he could have locked it in, would have had the man in a submission position. But now it is Bockwinkel between ropes 1 and 2, the top rope and the center rope, tossed out of that ring. You see him shaking his head, trying to get it back and get back in here. But here the Barbarian comes over, and the count of Gary DeRusha will start all over again. Bockwinkel is back in at the count of 2, but takes a tremendous sledgehammer blow from the Barbarian. First across the back, now across the pectoral muscles of the chest. 3 times the Barbarian hammers away, clubs his man, trying to drive him into submission.
I have a feeling, Rod, that Bockwinkel was concentrating so much on his match tomorrow night in Denver for the championship that he just did not put everything into this match with the Barbarian, and maybe took him a little bit too lightly. But the Barbarian definitely has the advantage. Bockwinkel can't seem to close on him when he does have the Barbarian in trouble.
And here's a reversal with Bockwinkel sending the Barbarian to the corner. A big back body drop, and the Barbarian, 318 pounds, comes from 7 feet in the air. And here is a drop kick, up and over and out of the ring goes the Barbarian.
Over the top rope, a lot of people would say disqualify Bockwinkel, but it's not a disqualification. He did not intentionally throw his man or drop kick his man over the top rope. If Bockwinkel can stay on him now, the tables could turn here. He has got to get the advantage over Nord the Barbarian. He went for a head scissors there, but the Barbarian kind of flipped himself in to get out of the way of that.
Bockwinkel on the attack, and that's what he has got to be. Here is the Bockwinkel sleeper as they close off the carotid artery, and you have been in this and you have applied it. You have maintained for years that the Bockwinkel sleeper is a chokehold. Is it indeed?
Well, he has at times, many times in matches with us, has used it as a chokehold. Sheik had Casey up on the apron here. Nord, the Barbarian, trying to get to the ropes.
And he
You better look out, Sheik. Sheik went to take a shot at Bockwinkel, and it backfired on him. North the Barbarian doesn't know where he is. Bockwinkel better look out. Oh! That big size 14 of North the Barbarian in the face of Bockwinkel.
1, 2, and 3, and it is
got
all over.
Bockwinkel. Nord the Barbarian, your winner. Nick Bockwinkel, it backfired on him. Had control of the Barbarian with the sleeper hold, and 3 count, the referee says it's over. The Barbarian a winner with the aid of that bottom rope. He had a hold of that when he pinned Bockwinkel.
And also the aid of Sheikh Adnan El Casey. But that more or less was Bockwinkel's downfall, as he paid just a bit too much attention to Sheikh Adnan El Casey, which allowed the Barbarian to come in and put him away. We'll be right back after these important messages.